Learning is by far, hands down, the most important skill. Like, if you're good at learning, you can use that to get good at whatever you'd like. But what if I told you that the most important part of becoming a great learner is the one that we mess up the most? There's decades of research that shows that the key to getting good at learning is first believing that you can do it. And that is where we struggle. We struggle with this belief because of stories. Stories that we hear, stories that we tell ourselves about the things that we can and can't do. Stories about our capacity to learn and grow. And these stories can often squash our belief in our ability to learn. Stop. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking this guy's sitting here throwing cliches at me. And before you close this video, I'm asking for 2 minutes of your time so I can show you why this matters so much. This can change the way that you look at the world, and that is a promise. In her 30 plus years of research, Stanford professor Carol Dweck has discovered the importance of our mindsets or our attitudes towards learning when it comes to development. She's shown that there's really two ways to think about skills and intelligence. Some people believe that skills and intelligence are set, or you sort of have what you have, that you are not really in control of your ability to learn. They call this a fixed mindset. Now, other people believe that skills and intelligence can be grown and developed, that you are in control of your ability to learn and grow. They call this a growth mindset. Dweck's work has uncovered some really important characteristics of these two mindsets. As you can see in this table, people with a growth mindset are more likely to put in effort, to take on a challenge, to see mistakes as a positive thing, to take and use feedback than people with a fixed. Her work also shows that people with this growth mindset tend to learn, grow, and achieve more over time than people with a fixed. And it all boils down to their mindset or their belief in their ability to learn and grow. Here's a highly scientific visual to show how it works. We call this the SFCOHTGGAS, standing for the self-fulfilling cycle of how to get good at stuff. And it shows us why belief matters more than anything. Here's how it works. Belief feeds into action, action to results, and results back to belief. Let's take a trip through the cycle through the lens of someone who believes in their ability to learn and grow. Step 1. They believe that they can learn. This could be a skill, a project, a challenge, anything. With this belief, they're more likely to put in the action and work involved with learning. Dweck's research shows that people like this like to take feedback. They enjoy challenges and they like to put in effort. And this makes a whole lot of sense because believing that they can learn gives them the fuel to do the work. They see the value of a challenge, of putting in effort, of taking feedback. And if they can't figure something out at first, they'll keep working all because they believe in their ability to grow and figure it out. By putting in this action, what do you think these people see? That's right. They see some progress and they see some results. The cool part is that these results actually confirm their original belief towards learning. And each time that they go through the cycle, these beliefs are strengthened. Key point. By believing that they can learn, what do they end up doing? Yes, learning. That is why this is called the self-fulfilling cycle. They believe in their ability to learn and then they end up learning. Disclaimer, I am not saying that you just have to believe and then it happens. Like, I believe I could shoot like Steph Curry, or I believe I could be a stand-up comedian. And then you wake up tomorrow and you're good to go. No. That is why action is in the table. The action can take days, weeks, months, years, a ton of mistakes, failures, and stumbles. The truth is, we could talk for weeks about the action step of learning, about the best ways to teach, the best ways to learn, but none of it really matters if we don't nail belief first. Because you will never do the action, you will never do the work without the belief. Watch. Let's look at the dark side of this cycle, and let's go through it with someone who does not believe in their ability to grow. Step 1, they don't believe in their ability to figure it out. These are the people who believe that skills and intelligence are innate and they're something that you're born with, aka you don't have to learn and grow, or you can't learn and grow. By not believing in their ability to learn, these people are less likely to put in the work and do the action. There are 2 reasons for this. 1, they don't think that they can change, so they don't see the purpose or value of trying something new, of taking a risk, of facing a challenge. 2, they think that the skills that they do have are set, are gifts, are natural, and that putting in effort or taking on a challenge isn't really necessary because these things are fixed. Either way, they're not going to put in the work. Dweck's research confirms all of this. People with a fixed mindset towards learning have been shown to give up when things get hard, avoid challenges, get defensive when they get feedback, and they try to avoid situations where they might make mistakes. In other words, they avoid doing all the things that can help them learn and grow, all because they don't believe. By avoiding the things that help you learn, do you think that they end up seeing much results? No, they don't. These negative results or lack of results confirm their original belief. I can't learn. And each time they go through this cycle, that belief is confirmed and strengthened. Again, this is super self-fulfilling. They believe that they can't learn and then they end up not learning. This cycle is at play always. Think about all of the times we cut ourselves off from learning something new because we don't believe in our ability to figure it out. This is why your grandma doesn't know how to use an iPhone. She doesn't believe in her ability to figure it out, and with that belief, she never gives herself the opportunities to learn. The truth of the matter is, if she spent 15 or 20 minutes poking around, she could figure it out. It's not like you and I have an iPhone gene that she doesn't. The only difference is we believe we can do it and she doesn't. This is also why a lot of us aren't good at drawing. We tell ourselves that we're just not creative, that we just don't have that ability, but then we never get the experience or the reps to get good at it. The most important part of that cycle is to realize if you change the belief, you change the whole system. Now, if I've done my job at this point, you're hopefully sitting there thinking, dang, it is really important to believe in my ability to learn. But you're also probably asking, okay, how? Like, how do I help myself? How do I help others believe in this? I'm glad you asked. First of all, it starts with science. There's solid research that shows that our brains are malleable, that they're literally built to learn, grow, and get better at just about anything. The proof, the real world examples of this are all around us. Let's talk about tigers, mussels, and rats. Take a second and imagine that you are a tiger. Sweet, huh? But before you get cocky, there's a catch. You live in a zoo. You spend most of your time in a cage. Every meal is given to you right on time, and you always have fresh, cold water to wash it down. Your life is insanely easy. Everything is done for you. You are insanely safe. You always have protection. You're living that hashtag zoo tiger life. Stay with me. I promise we're going somewhere with this. Now imagine that you're a tiger that lives in the jungle. Let's talk about your life. You have to find your own food. You have to find your own shelter. You have to learn to protect yourself and your cubs at all times. Your life is not that easy. Your life is not that safe. Your life involves quite a bit of struggle. You live in the wild, and the truth is, it's really hard. Quiz time. What would happen if we took our friend the zoo tiger and put it into the wild? That's right, we'll probably have a dead zoo tiger on our hands. Why? The zoo tiger spent a lot of time living the chill life and like no time developing any real skills that would help it survive in the wild. It doesn't know how to hunt because all of its meals were hand delivered. It doesn't know how to protect itself because it's never really faced any danger. How about the jungle tiger though? How does it do in the wild? It survives. Why? It learns to hunt, learns to protect itself, learns to survive in the wild by living in the wild. It learns from and because of the struggle and challenges that it faces. Also, I want to point out, it had to learn and get good at it all. It couldn't just sit there after a failed hunt and go, maybe hunting just isn't my thing. Maybe I'm just not a hunter. No, it had to do it all. Key points. They were both tigers. They both had similar tools, sharp teeth, an insane vert, sweet stripes. Their ability to learn and the skills that they developed had nothing to do with their natural talents and tools and everything to do with the way that they were trained. The hard, the not safe, the not easy approach, the approach that involved struggle, allowed the jungle tiger to do something that the zoo tiger had no chance of doing. The easy and the safe approach led to no learning. So this is how tigers learn to survive in the wild. But this is also how we are built to learn. If you dive into the science of learning, a few principles arise. Now, one of the most important is we learn best when we're operating at the edge of our abilities, a little bit outside of our comfort zone, and when we're stretched and challenged. Do you see how your comfort zone is a lot like the cage in the zoo? Like when you're in your comfort zone, it's easy, it is safe, you look good, there's not very much struggle or mistakes. But just like the zoo tiger, you're not getting better. So I have good news and bad news. The good news. Unlike tigers, we have a choice. We can choose the way that we approach life and learning. We can choose to live in the wild or live in the zoo. Now the bad news is, most of us choose wrong. Because a lot of our stories and beliefs, most of us get boxed in the cage, boxed in our comfort zones. And we do this to ourselves, but we also do it to others. You are not a math person. I just can't dance. Maybe public speaking just isn't your thing. These are all stories. These all label us and put us in boxes. These all talk about learning with a fixed mindset, saying that we are good or not good at something, that we can't or don't have to grow. Because of these stories, most of us choose to stay in the cage, to stay in our comfort zone. We believe that we're not cut out for things. We want to do the things that we're good at, that are easy, that are safe, that are known. And when we're in that box, when we're in that cage, it's really hard to get better at stuff. The good news about beliefs is that they can be changed. And we need to recognize the value of training in the wild, of facing those challenges, of struggling, of making those mistakes. And we need to understand that learning has very little to do with our natural gifts and tools, and everything to do with the experiences that we jump into. In the proper environment, we can all learn and get better at anything. But in the wrong environment, we struggle. And we need to coach and parent and teach and learn and lead accordingly. Neuroscience shows that your brain is a lot like a muscle. It learns by doing. And we've been taught this and we've understood this since like 3rd grade PE. If I was in the gym doing a set of 10 curls, which rep out of the 10 would be the hardest to do? Yes, the 10th. That's the rep where my arms start to shake, where I get a weird look on my face and I start to turn purple. Which rep out of the 10 is the most important to develop muscles and strength? Yes, the 10th or 11th, if you're a maniac, is the most important. Muscles are built when we stretch them to the point of failure. Your brain is the same. It's designed to learn when you're stretched and when you're challenged, when you're outside of your comfort zone, when you're in the wild. Also, just like a muscle, your brain learns by doing. You can't get stronger by not lifting or by just watching somebody lift. You have to actually do it. It really is that simple. But the problem goes back to the SFCOHTGGAS, because it's our beliefs that rob us of these opportunities to stretch and to fail and to learn and to grow. I see that look in your eye. You want to talk about rats. Let's do it.
In motor learning, skill, you learn by doing and not by watching. A very condensed study of animals that you can kill, aka rats. They studied rats in an enriched environment, and there were trillions more synapses and brain development than a rat that was in a darkened environment and couldn't interact or do anything, but only could just eat and survive. That makes sense. What I found fascinating is some master's student apparently said, well, what if the rats could see the other rats doing this stuff? And so they put these rats in this cage with food and water where they could watch the other rats interact and do all these amazing things. And you'd think, well, their brains are going to develop a lot more because they can see all this stuff. Nope, as if they're in the dark. Because they didn't do it. Learning by doing. And I can't say that enough, especially because the rats that got to watch, their brain didn't develop any more than the rats that were in the black. Watching isn't how you learn, you have to do it.
3 important themes really stick out from these examples. First, you can learn and get better at anything. Second, you learn skills by doing them, especially when you're stretched and challenged. Third, skills are built, not born. They are not just natural and not just given to you. If it's something that you can get better at, it is something that can be learned, and it's yours if you want it. What about Headstarts? Are some people just naturally good at things? Maybe, but who cares? The fact is, we all have the capacity, we all have the ability to learn, grow, and get better at anything. Let's focus on that. The truth is, most successful people actually have a lot of disadvantages in life, and it is these challenges and these hurdles that help them become great. So their success has nothing to do with a head start and has more to do with how they approach the challenges and hurdles that they face. What about ceilings? Like, how do we know what our potential is? I have no clue. Nobody does. But I do know that you are far more powerful than you know. That your capacity to learn is greater than you think. That your ceiling is so much higher than we realize. And instead of guessing where that ceiling is, let's find out by hitting our head on it. The bottom line is mostly everything is a skill. A skill that you can acquire if you work at it and struggle with it enough. Period. And if you believe that at your core, the world is yours, my friend. And to tell yourself, or the people that you lead, anything different is a story, is a cop-out, is incredibly destructive. Please stop labeling. Stop squashing beliefs. Stop telling stories about skills and learning. Those are stories, and this is science. Never let somebody tell you that you can't learn or do something. They couldn't be more wrong.